Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
That was my favorite line in the whole movie.
It was really good.
Iconic, honestly.
This isn't a man. The man is gone. What's left is pure evil.
Amazing. All right, Isaac, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Halloween. Welcome everyone to Flyover Film Country. This is the first entry in Spooktober Fest. Woo! We're going to cover an as of yet undetermined number of classic and B-rate horror movies. I'm Isaac Sims, joined by everyone else who is supposed to jump in. Olivia, Clement, Eric, Pham, and Walter Lyle, producer Walter Lyle.
Thank you for the introductions today.
Yeah, you're killing it. I'm really proud of you.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm carrying. I'm carrying it, but yeah. It also sound like Rick, but anyway, what'd you guys think about Halloween?
Dude.
This is like my fifth time watching it, so I'm a bit of course by that sentence alone.
Wasn't surprised. I'm not surprised to hear that you're the one out of all of us who's seen it the most, Eric.
Thank you again.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Isaac and I hadn't. You hadn't seen it either, Isaac,
No.
right? Okay,
No.
yeah. Isaac and I watched it together, which we're going to talk more about later. But I had not seen it before either. And Olivia, you said you hadn't seen it.
No, this was my first watch.
Okay, all right.
Nice.
Not to get personal or too personal into like the inner workings of our lives, because I feel like we talk about our lives on here a lot. But Olivia, how was watching this movie? A, did you watch this movie by yourself? And B, did you watch it by yourself in your new living quarters?
We should specify that Olivia
Because Olivia does not like horror movies. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that should be. I know we've talked about it on the podcast before, but I think we should start off. Yes, I do not like horror movies. Yes, I did watch it by myself. Yes, I watched it by myself in my new living quarters.
She is so brave.
Yeah.
Good job.
I would like to say, though, I watched it in the middle of the day. I had some time yesterday in between my own therapy session and then going to work and seeing clients in session. And I thought, this will be a good time. A real great way to just come down from my own therapy session and ease right into what I'm about to walk into in session. So
that's an interesting day.
Starts off with a therapist too.
Yeah.
Or basically not right away, but later on, second scene.
So it does start with a therapist, a psychiatrist. So that was interesting to think about. What would I do if one of my clients was a psychotic murderer?
Physical manifestation of evil. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's when I watched it. I watched it yesterday in the middle of the day.
Was it scarier or less scarier than what you expected it to be?
It was less scarier than I was expecting, which, Eric, I think you told me this, that if I could get through Alien, I would be fine.
Oh, yes.
And so that made me feel a lot better watching this movie. Mm-hmm. I was still worried about watching it by myself at night. So I decided to watch it in the middle of the day, but it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. So that's where I landed with that. It wasn't super scary.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I only watched it because of this podcast.
I was to say, you did it for the podcast.
I did it for the podcast, for the kids, for the kingdom, for the podcast, for the fans.
For the people, honestly.
I don't think very
for
many
the culture.
Parents would link For the Kids, for the Kingdom and John Carpenter's 1978 horror masterpiece, Halloween. But, these are strange times we're living in.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, Olivia, your next assignment is you have to watch Midnight Mass. That's what all the cool kids are watching right now.
So we were watching Midnight
scary.
Mass last night or the last several nights. And I feel like it's something that we could cover on this podcast because it's A, so heavy on Catholicism and Christianity, and B, so set in this like desolate
middle of nowhere.
Place.
It's like it really is like its own version of Flyover Country where the people are so cut off from the rest of reality and they're living in their own little worlds.
Yep. And really that's why they end up turning to religion and a higher power. And I guess you could say they're inventing their own higher power. So
as someone, and this is definitely a detour, as someone who has no like relationship with Christianity, that series was a trip for me.
It's interesting because I feel like I've gotten I take that aspect for granted because like I've grown up in Christianity, but I was really hoping that it would return to more Hill House area of scares and less like people talking about their feelings, because Mike Flanagan kind of does that well, but like I don't think he does it really well. And so I was like, man, this is just really heavy on all the emotional stuff.
There were so many dialogues in there. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I need to fast forward.
Are you trying to say that Hill House was not about the emotions and the feelings? Because that for me, that was all it was.
At the end, that's what it is, and it makes sense. But like, if you watch Haunting of Bly Manor, that's all Bly Manor is. Like there were hardly any scares, and like I was in it for the scares. Midnight Mass is the same way, except it's obviously him grappling with all these like problems he has with Catholicism, and he probably grew up in Catholicism.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but I guess what I was trying to say is like Hill House is so scary. Like like the first three, the what?
I was just saying, it felt more like a soap opera to me than a horror show.
I mean, we can disagree on that, but
that's fine. And that'll be a whole separate episode of the podcast.
Yeah,
we'll just yell at each other about Hill House.
This episode's about Halloween.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll keep like mentioning it unless we just mention it outright. Walter and I watched this together, and we recorded the first ever Flyover After Dark, which is me and Walter watching and commentating on movies together, and it was a success. It was really. It was pretty funny.
It's like I think the final video is like 23 minutes or something, and so we got some good humor, a little bit of analysis. But it's just a couple of boys having fun watching a movie. So
we crack ourselves up, and if you can do that, it should be, most of the time it's pretty entertaining. So yeah. So with that being said, let's jump into Halloween. I'm going to pull up John Carpenter's filmography real quick.
So I was going to ask, what are y'all's experiences with John Carpenter movies?
I've seen The Thing, and I've seen the 2018 Halloween, and I know he didn't direct that. Right. But The Thing is the only other of his movies that I've seen.
Gotcha.
And I absolutely love The Thing. That is a great
one.
Yep.
I think that one. Oh, go ahead, Walter.
No, you got it.
I was going to say, John Carpenter's like responsible for us being able to have Jamie Lee Curtis and Kurt Russell as movie stars, because those two movies, Halloween, I think was like Jamie Lee Curtis's first, I think, starring role in a movie. I think before that she was only doing TV. Kurt Russell was only doing like B-rate movies in like the 70s until he did The Thing, I think was his first movie with John Carpenter. And those two movies brought both of them to stardom, which was pretty incredible. So John Carpenter, he's an incredible director and storyteller.
Yeah, this is the first John Carpenter movie I watched, which I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like is a pretty good introduction to John Carpenter.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Walter, what were some of your like overall technical like takes on the movie? Because I remember you saying some general things about the directing and lighting and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whenever we were watching it.
I'm not a filmmaker by any means, but I am a photographer who also does some videography as well. So I like to pay attention a lot to the technical aspects of like filmmaking. And we talked about, Isaac and I mentioned this when we were watching the movie, but I really, really enjoyed the lighting in this movie, which may seem stupid, but I feel like they did such a good job with providing lighting that looked very natural, in the sense that like a lot of movies during this time, and maybe this was when it started to shift away from this, but movies in this time and before, a lot of the lighting for scenes were very direct and not practical looking. And so in this one, like in Halloween, if something is lighting the subject or a scene or whatever, it's you can always trace it to, or you can always convince yourself that it's coming from a practical source. Like that's probably an artificial light coming in out of the bedroom into the hallway, but they made it look like strong moonlight or street light coming in. And so that was awesome. There's a lot of great use of shadows and lights, especially with a few scenes involving Michael Myers, when like one where he slowly emerges out of like this pure darkness in a doorway, him popping out of the back seat of the car for that now very iconic kill. So lighting wise, I thought was awesome. I thought the cinematography was great. Aside from Jamie Lee Curtis, I thought most of the acting was not the best.
Yeah, no, her and Donald Pleasance as Loomis definitely carried the movie as far as the acting goes.
They get passes, but everybody else.
I think I watched the commentary with John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis that they did for, I think it was the 35th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the cast members were like wives or husbands of people working on the crew. Because the movie was shot on like a shoestring budget of like $300,000.
Yeah, I think I thought I saw the final budget number for that, but y'all keep talking and I'll look that up.
It was as far as the lighting goes and some of the like how tactile and practical and low budget they had to be. Mm-hmm. The opening scene with the house that's like shot like a one take
in the POV from young Mike Myers.
And you kind of realize maybe 5 or 6 minutes in, you're in his point of view.
Iconic.
Really good. But also they had to run. They had one light source and they had to run from room to room.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was either that scene or the very last scene. I remember I heard on a podcast, a really good podcast about this movie, Blank Check with Griffin and David, is doing all of John Carpenter's movies right now. Their Halloween episodes with Alex Ross Perry, who directed Her Smell. And it's really, really good. And he gives this incredible kind of breakdown of what had been happening in horror from 68 to 78 and why Halloween was so revolutionary that I'm going to straight up copy from here in a second. Because I think it's important to like, I think it's at least interesting to set the stage for like why this movie was so successful.
Yeah. Real quick before you do that, first, I want to say great job for promoting another podcast on our own podcast. Very cool.
Blank Check with Griffin and David is like the only podcast that's in the big picture. Those are the two that get passes on here.
Okay, here's the deal.
They'll give us money one day. They'll give us money one day.
Yeah, Isaac promotes them, I think, almost in every episode.
Every episode.
We get it. You listen to Blank Check.
Okay, sorry guys.
Okay, so real quick.
Actually, I'm not sorry.
Budget.
We know.
1978 Halloween had a budget of $325,000, which they were obviously able to stretch to the complete max, as we saw. And just as a contrast to that, and I'm not taking into account inflation or anything, but the 2017 Halloween had a budget of $10 million. So quite the jump from between the two. So yeah. Okay.
And it made $47 million. It was a phenomenon.
And made like 20 different sequels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which the whole franchise.
Which I don't know if y'all know this. John Carpenter, when he made this movie, he fully intended it to be a one-off. And I don't think any of the sequels have his blessing. So
really
take that with.
Except I think the Gordon Green newer ones, because he's a producer on those. Pretty sure.
Gotcha.
So, cool. Y'all want to hear the very quick history of horror?
No.
Okay. Walter, you can leave. So, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, Amityville Horror, and The Omen. Who's I've seen Exorcist. Has anyone seen some of those?
I've seen all of those.
Eric's seen all of them.
Amityville.
Okay.
Yep.
I have seen part of The Omen.
Okay.
Oh, y'all need to watch Rosemary's Baby.
I know. I've been wanting to for a long time.
Oh, and I haven't
directed by who will not be named.
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen Exorcist is one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
So good.
And I think out of all of the old classic horror movies, holds up the best by today's standards, which we can talk about that later. And then I have also seen Amityville Horror, which was actually, in my opinion, not great. Didn't hold up well. But I would love to watch The Omen and Rosemary's Baby.
Here, what do all those movies have in common?
They are horror movies.
Besides that,
Demon possession.
yes,
Yes.
Satan.
Demon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The point I'm about to make is one that Alex Ross Perry made on that podcast. So I didn't do any grand thesis or research on this.
Play their podcast on our podcast, and that'll be
Yeah, I think that's what we should do.
No, because like the four of us, our charm, our charisma over theirs. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Come on.
This is our thing, man.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
All of those movies are demon possession slash satanic slash get the hell out movies that happen to good, upstanding people. They didn't do anything wrong. They just moved into a house, or they just, in Rosemary's Baby's case, the baby just happens to be the devil. Like, horror exactly. Horror had been happening, but horror and B horror had been happening. In fact, like B horror was the beginning of indie cinema, because it was some dude who was like, people love being scared. People love seeing like gory things.
Mhm.
So, and it was just some like dude who was like, we have a horror festival in town. This is like back again before streaming and all that. We have a horror festival in town. I could make something for like $10,000 and probably make, $500,000 or $1 million. Like, I'm just throwing those numbers out there. So you had like prestige drama horrors from people like Polanski, and who had, it wasn't Faye Dunaway, the one in Mia Farrow was in
you're thinking of Chinatown.
Yeah, Faye Dunaway was Chinatown, and Mia Farrow was Rosemary's Baby. So you had prestige actors and directors making those scary movies. Halloween is about a guy who kills for no reason, and it's portrayed in a movie, and he's killing babysitters in the suburbs where everyone is supposed to be safe.
Mhm.
That's why that movie like just took the whole country by storm, and eventually the world. And this movie came out in 78. Guess what was happening between 68 and 78?
I don't know. Tell us. I'm on the edge of my seat.
John Wayne Gacy, the Zodiac Killer, the Golden State Killer, and Berkowitz, the son of Sam. So like John Carpenter captured, like he just like captured this paranoia and absolute fear that people had of like someone could literally just come into my house, kill me. Like crime rates were going up, random killings. I am ending that whole thing by saying again that I took a lot of that from Alex Ross Perry.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'm plagiarizing, but I'm also being upfront that I'm
that's
plagiarizing.
okay.
Oh, you're good at plagiarizing.
I think
that was very informative for me.
I like that. And it brought this, instead of like paranormal, supernatural, oh, that can't happen type horror, it brought a very like realistic, hey, this can happen type horror to the suburbs, because it was like central Illinois. I think it's a fictional town. I think it was based on one of the producers' hometowns, I think.
Mm-hmm.
From New Jersey, even though it is in Illinois. So very like nondescript area.
Pretty insane. Another insane piece of trivia. They had like in every scene that if this movie feels empty because there are no there aren't that many extras, because you can tell they just didn't have that much money.
Right.
And so it feels empty, which adds in a weird way to the scariness. But then also like it's supposed to be fall and like October, and clearly it's Halloween day. And any scene outside where you see with leaves are the same leaves that they like painted brown and carted to different locations to shoot. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. So it was filmed in LA, right? So they wouldn't have those types of leaves out there. Yeah. Interesting.
I told Walter too that I went and ate brunch with my brother and sister-in-law, and they live in Pasadena. And it was like September. And there are all these people in Michael Myers masks and jumpsuits, like walking up and down the street. And I'm like, what is going on? And my sister-in-law looks down the street and she sees that the house where they filmed, it's Laurie Strode's house. And she goes, I'm pretty sure that's the house where they filmed it, because there was like this huge party outside. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So, and sure enough, it was. Filmed it in Pasadena.
Isaac's been to California. We get it.
California.
What?
What?
Anyway,
my dad calls California the left coast.
That's good.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one before. That is very good.
man. Olivia.
So I want to hear Olivia's thoughts on this, because
She's been really quiet.
Maybe on purpose.
This, I think, actually, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out like 4 years before this, I believe. Actually, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre was 1974, or was it after 1984? Either way,
I think it was 74.
Okay, so this movie really kickstarted the whole final girls trope, where the main character, who is a girl, survives all these crazy ordeals and comes to a final confrontation with the killer. What are your opinions on that whole trope? Do you like it? Because it's on the there are a lot of people on the spectrum on this argument.
I mean, so I think, yeah, Alien and Halloween, I think, really kick-started that whole trope. I am kind of here for it.
Yes.
I think that Ripley was a better final girl than Laurie, because Laurie just, I mean, it was the whole like trope of the scary movie, like character, or like a character in a scary movie where she would like do something and then just sit there.
Yeah.
Like after she shanked him in the side of the head with the knitting needle, she just sat on the couch.
She's like,
I was like, girl, what are you doing?
Never turn your back. Yeah.
Yeah. And then whenever she, stabbed him in the face in the closet and he was laying on the ground, I was like, no, she just calmly, not calmly, but I kind of calmly goes up to the kids and is like, are you guys okay? Like checking in on them. I'm like, get them and get out. Like GTFO. What are you doing?
Dreading to watch.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I think Ripley's the better final girl, but I do think that this was, I think we talked about this when we talked about Alien, however many times we talked about Alien, is this was really ahead of its time in that sense. Like now, of course, movies are going to purposely try to, make the female character, a strong, quote unquote, badass, right? To show that women are strong and capable, right? And while, yes, that is true, I think that this wasn't necessarily trying to make I don't think it was trying to make a statement, because now it feels like no matter what I watch, anything is trying to make a statement of some sort. And I think that this was like, hey, let's make this our end game with this character, as opposed to, hey, you know what we should do? Make sure the women feel empowered.
Yeah, you hit that on the head, because I think a common complaint, or not even a complaint, a common comment with this movie is the three girls you see in the movie, Laurie and her two friends, I forget their names. Laurie is like
Annie is one of them.
Right. Annie is one of them, and I forgot the other one. But Laurie is like the pure like virgin. She is not a troublemaker. She's not trying to party. Whereas the two other ones are the complete opposite of that. They're just trying to get in trouble, have fun with their boyfriends the whole time. And those two get killed off like instantly.
Right.
And John Carpenter, a lot of people were like, is John Carpenter trying to make like some kind of commentary with that? And he come out and debunked that and said, no, he is not. You're right. Exactly. Yeah. And he said, no, he's not trying to make any kind of commentary on that.
Okay. Because I mean, that wasn't a complaint of mine necessarily, because again, it's been many years since this movie came out, and our country has changed a lot since then, and all views on women and, sexuality and stuff. But that's, I thought that. I was like, it's very clear that the killer went after, quote unquote, promiscuous women, for lack of a better term, starting with his own sister at the very beginning when he was a kid. And then all the ones he goes after and kills are just women who are doing the nasty. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what, I guess, like, what are y'all's thoughts on that then? Like, so how could that not be, I don't know, you see what I'm saying? Like, how would that not be kind of a clear theme, I guess?
I think it's like, my thing is that Lori she's not necessarily, she's pure compared to Annie and the other friend, but she's not like a prude. And I think that other horror movies kind of like, especially like Scream's a great example. Like whenever the main character in Scream, like in the third act, finally like has sex with her boyfriend, and you're like, oh man, she's gonna die because she had sex. And they've been like and Scream is about that meta commentary.
Yeah,
Scream's
kind of like a parody. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a parody, and it's so good. I love Scream.
Yeah.
But then obviously it's like Wes Craven was like, nope, I'm flipping this on his head. Like she's gonna get out. It's not about like, I'm not gonna vilify women like that. Lori's just kind of like, she just wants to read books, and she's nice, and she's like, and I love that that's how she is, and she's not a characterization of like, no, I'm like reading my Bible, and like I don't have a boyfriend, like I don't want to do that sort of stuff. Like,
And no, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, she's not a saint by any means, right? Like, so she smokes a joint, right? You see her in the car with I think Annie, and she's smoking a joint, and she cusses, you know, heaven forbid. But so she's not a saint in that sense either. I think, like kind of what Isaac was saying, she just kind of likes what she likes, and isn't really interested in.
And she's a good babysitter.
Yeah. So
Annie and Linda, by the way, we keep saying the other girl. It's Annie and
Linda.
Sorry, keep going.
Linda.
Did y'all know
Linda,
that the original title for this was The Babysitter Murders? Which
Isaac told me
that would have been a pretty awesome title, I think.
I don't know.
Halloween's good though.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
The night he came home.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing, or not the other thing, there are lots of other things. How about the scene where Loomis and the nurse drive up to the ward, and everyone's just wandering around on the grounds?
That was creepy.
That was crazy.
Like, I knew that scene was coming, and I was still like, oh shoot. Like, yep, this is gonna be scary.
Yeah, I love the scene where there's that jump scare on the back of the car when Michael Myers jumps on the back of it, and he just pops up out of nowhere. Like you don't see that coming at all. You just in the back of the frame, you just see him jump out of the back window on top of the car. Really good scare.
I thought, and this was one of those scenes that I tried to watch it with the lens of somebody watching it in the theaters in 1978, instead of me watching it on my computer in 2021. So like, I try to put myself in the mindset of like, okay, these common horror movie tropes don't exist yet, so that whole thing. And so watching it with that, I was like, that was a good scene. But looking back on it, I think it's one of those scenes that does not hold up as well as like some people might think. Like the music came in at weird times. The way his hand like came into the window, I made a joke. It looked like he was just trying to like gently shampoo the nurse's hair in the drive. I don't know, man. It's kind of taking me out of it just a little bit. And then but
then you see him choke a girl to death later.
But he slaps the window, and the window like shatters. And I was like, okay, that's pretty intense. It's just a lot of surprises, basically. Like you don't expect some of those things. And so I feel for the most part that scene didn't hold up, but there was still a couple of things that I'm like, okay, like at the time, this would have been pretty terrifying.
I think another way that this movie really differentiated itself from all those other movies I mentioned earlier is that, and as far as the music goes, John Carpenter did the music. Yeah, he composed the music for this movie because it was so tight, and he still is a musician by trade, and that's what his training was. And Walter and I made that comment to each other, like the music's just too heavy-handed. Like this movie would almost be scarier if you only got the piano theme for Michael Myers whenever you saw him, but it kind of keeps showing up randomly, and almost too much. And even some scenes where he's just by himself and it's just quiet and you just hear him breathing. Like those scenes are scary, but I think the music just came in too much, and it should have been a little bit more like restrained in that. Yeah. And understated. Yeah. Because there's a scene in the new one where Laurie's granddaughter and her friend are running from Michael. They jump over a fence. She jumps over the other fence. He trips and falls, and the light in the backyard is kind of blinking on and off. And that scene is really, really scary. And it's just like completely quiet. And you just see Michael get closer and closer and closer. And it's like,
that sounds terrifying.
The scariest thing in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I have not seen I think that one is technically the sequel, the 2017. Did you say it's 2017, 2018?
18, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like technically the sequel to this one, correct? Like none of the other ones matter.
Canonical.
Eric, have you seen any of the other ones?
I have not, because
I haven't either. And I know I've only read and heard a little bit about like the lore and how each of them connects and which one's not canon. And like, and it's just, it's really confusing.
It's like fan fiction. I remember listening to the commentary, and John Carpenter was pretty much just bashing like the second and third ones. Like, this is not what he envisioned the story to go at all. So I was like, okay, there's no reason to watch those.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. The new one is good though. I would say worth seeing. I
have heard that. I need to watch that.
Yeah, I would like to. After watching this one, I would like to watch the new ones, because here's what it said. Now, this is Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. But I think it's from an official source. But it says the 11th. This is the 11th installment. Was the one that came out in 2018.
11?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, because there's like 2, 3, H2O. And
Rob Zombie directed
Rob Zombie
version.
did like good.
He did those.
Yeah. Rob Zombie remade it in 2007, and then a sequel to that one in 2009. So those are both by Rob Zombie. And then the 11th installment came out in 2018. And we mentioned earlier, directed by David Gordon Green, is a direct sequel to the original film, so the 1978, while disregarding the previous sequels from canon and retconning the ending of the first one. So again, having not seen the 2018 one, and obviously nobody has seen Halloween Kills, because that comes out this month, actually October 15th, right?
Yeah, it comes out October. Hold on, I'll look it up.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize it came out so soon. That's
it's
crazy.
coming out.
So I guess it retcons the end of the 1978 movie to where he's in prison, because I think that he's in prison at the beginning of the David Gordon Green movie.
Olivia has her hand up. What you got?
It does come out October 15th. So you were correct, Walter.
Walter, we should go see it.
Who's directing that? David Gordon Green as well.
He's doing this one, and then the next one is Halloween Ends, and apparently it's going to be the end.
It's like a trilogy.
Will it? Yeah,
probably
very interesting. Very interesting.
Danny McBride is apparently a co-writer on Halloween.
Yeah, I saw that when I was looking at it the other day. I was like, Danny McBride? But whatever, good for him.
Wild. Oh no, he helped write the 2018 one too. Okay. Wow.
Hey, little girl, give me some Kool-Aid.
That is funny.
Good for Danny boy. Nice.
We need to do Hot Rod on here.
Which I would love to.
Scariest part of the movie. I think so. If you go and watch our After Dark video, Walter and I like lose our stuff in the car scene, because it's just it's drawn out perfectly.
Like that was like, it was the first kill of like the
that one, yeah.
Character. Yeah. No, that one is, like I said, it's now iconic. I mean, like that's one of like the most widely recognized like kill scenes in any slasher movie. But I think what's so great about it is, like you said, the buildup. Like you can feel the tension, and when I believe it's Annie, is that right? Is one when you get killed?
Yes.
So she gets in the car, and like as you watch her, she's like leaning forward and like putting her hand on the windshield because it's been all fogged up. And then for me, I was like, why is it so fogged up? It's just been in the garage. And then like right before Mike Myers popped his little butt out, I was like, oh, it's because someone has been in the car and he's breathing inside. And then it was too late and we just lost.
And then Walter and I are like, wow.
The girls. That was very good, very well done.
Did you guys watch it with subtitles? Because it just said heavy breathing every time Michael Myers showed up. It was just like
Watch it with
heavy
subtitles.
breathing.
Really? Oh wow.
That would be the subtitles for our podcast if we
Heavy
had
breathing. Yeah. So I knew he was. Well, one, I had a feeling he was like. I knew that was coming at some point. That particular scene, but when she came back, because the door was locked, and so she had to go and get the keys, and she came back and she didn't even try the keys. She just opened the door and it was unlocked, and I was like, oh no, something bad is gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, and like her death had been built up even longer than that, because like when she was in the kitchen and like she got like a stain on her clothes or something, so she got like undressed completely in the kitchen while Mike Myers watched her through the window.
As one does when you babysit, you just completely
literally all the time.
It's definitely
the time.
normal.
Yeah.
I love how this movie's set in the 60s and it's like no one's dressed like they're in the 60s. No one's acting like they're in the 60s. Everybody's acting like this is like the late 70s to early 80s.
But then so you're like, okay, well, she's going to die right now, right? Because she's naked and he likes to kill people when they're naked. But then,
as one does.
Right. Again. And then you're like, oh, she hasn't died yet. And then she goes out for there's a weird, their laundry room is at a separate building in the backyard. So she has to like tramp through there.
I will say
also very, very normal, I would say.
I will say my aunt and uncle lived in a house at one point that had a separate, like kind of like they called it the bungalow.
It was like a detached.
It was detached. It was like kind of like the guest bedroom essentially. And it had the washer and dryer in there as opposed to inside their house. Although I did think that's so weird. And I still think it's weird.
It's
but
very unusual. Yeah.
It's unusual.
The fact that it was like, and Isaac pointed out, because she locked herself in the building and then got herself stuck in the window, and that very hey step bro, what are you doing type
that was super funny. Like I didn't really find her character amusing very much. Whenever she got stuck, I was like of course, and like the way she was playing it, I was like, this is pretty funny. Like
and like that was all literally just be like, okay, she's gonna die right here. Okay, she's gonna die right here. Okay, finally gonna die right here. Until finally she gets in the car, and that's when she dies. So that build up was great, even though the way she played most of it was a tad goofy.
Also, she was I don't think she was goofy. I think she was annoying. To me, she was annoying, and she was a bad friend. I was fine with her dying.
Right.
Oof.
I was like, just
I love it when
her
characters
off.
die on
Not very
screen.
feminine of you, Olivia.
I know it's not very empowered women empower women, but she's not an empowered woman. She did not respect her friend's wishes to just stay out of her business. She was not very feminist.
She wasn't a good babysitter.
She also was a terrible babysitter.
You know who was a good babysitter? Laurie Strode.
Yeah,
Laurie.
Babysitter to the stars, man. She killed.
I would
sure. Yeah.
want
that.
Lori to babysit for me if I ever have children.
Dude.
Apparently Tommy, the little boy that she's babysitting, is like a grown man in Halloween Kills, the one that's coming out in a couple weeks.
Oh,
and you can see him like going on the hunt for Michael.
I don't remember what the little girl's name is, but the actor's name is Kyle Richards. And that name stuck out to me for whatever reason. And I was like, why do I know that name? Kyle Richards is a housewife on one of the Real Housewives shows.
Yeah.
And I only know that because my brother loves the Real Housewives. And so I've seen her and I had no idea she was a child actor.
Wow.
None whatsoever.
Yes. She portrayed Lindsay Wallace in Halloween. I think is the girl that, like, there's the boy and the girl. I think she was the girl, right?
Yeah, she was a little girl.
Yeah.
And freaking Annie was like, Lindsay, can you answer the phone? And Lindsay just is very focused.
She's just watching her movie. I was like, I totally resonate with that. Like, please don't bother me. I'm just watching my movie.
As the kids say, she's vibing.
Yeah.
She's vibing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
hold on. I think I just found out something else about Kyle Richards. This could be wrong, but it says that Paris Hilton is her niece.
Yes, that is correct. That is, in fact, correct. Her sister is the mother of Paris Hilton.
How about
Makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's Kyle Richards for you. Anyway,
Did y'all notice that in the end credits, Michael Myers is credited as the Shape?
the Shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
It's even
That makes
creepy.
sense.
It's even creepier. Like even after the credits start rolling, you're like, why don't they just call him Michael Myers? But they're like, no,
Gonna
it's not
dehumanize him.
Michael. It's pure evil. It's the boogeyman.
Very evil.
Yeah.
why? So why do they never refer to him as the Shape in the movie?
I don't know. I think it was like a little director thing. Like, I'm just gonna do this. Feels right. So
Did John Carpenter tell you that?
he like we were on a call the other day, and I was
Okay.
like, John, like just tell me, like why
This is
What?
Shape? What's with that? And he
What
was
went
like,
into that
well,
decision?
And I was like, yeah.
Let's see. Hold on. I'm looking up why he was called the Shape. It just says that John Carpenter said he's called the Shape because of the mask that he wore and the fact that he was hiding in the shadows most of the time.
He's just lurking.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the mask real quick. Y'all know what it is?
I know.
A mask?
For them.
It's a William Shatner Captain Kirk mask that they painted white and cut
Oh,
the
wow.
eye holes a little bigger.
I did
Yeah,
not
it
know
looks
that.
good.
I did not know that.
Hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very scary.
Mhm.
So
And-
you're telling me I could just buy a William Shatner mask, paint it all white, and then cut the eye holes a little bit bigger, and then I'm good to go?
Yep. You're the Shape 2.0.
Okay.
You're the therapist. You tell me.
I mean, I don't know how those correlate.
I don't know.
It's a Loomis and like crazy person joke.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it didn't land.
Well,
But what do you
female Shape. So talk about empowering.
female? Shape.
Yeah, I will be the female Shape,
You're
but
gonna
I still
go
want to be
kill-
called the Shape. I don't want to be called the female Shape. That feels
It's a little reductive. Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're gonna go kill a bunch of like Chad high school students like wearing
Do you
New
promise?
Balances and Nike socks.
Why would you mix the brands? Speaking of brands, this has nothing to do with anything, but this made me think of it. The other day I bought a pair of Adidas shoes and my bank like had to verify that it was me because I have not bought anything that wasn't Nike in a very long time. And so my bank was like, "Hey, are you sure this is you? I think this is fraud."
We're
That's
like,
crazy.
we think we know you pretty well.
Yeah.
And, it's not you. That's fine.
So anyway, I was just I thought that was really funny. But yeah, I wouldn't mind killing some Chads.
John Carpenter went up to William Shatner at a Comic-Con and tried to introduce himself, and William Shatner ignored him. Like he was on his cell phone and like just completely ignored him. And I love that because it's so like John Carpenter is a pretty chill dude from what I can tell. Like he's super smart. And then William Shatner's just kind of like
Yeah.
William
Yeah.
Shatner.
I remember I was at
goofball moron. Yeah.
I was at the Kansas City Comic-Con like 4 or 5 years ago, and William Shatner
Humble
was
brag.
there, and he was charging like $200 on autograph, and the line was like going out the door. I was like, you couldn't pay me to wait
Really?
in line.
No, yeah, that sounds miserable.
Yeah. But William Shatner, he's I don't know how I feel about
Yeah.
him. I'm not a big Star Trek guy though, so
I'm not
Me
either.
neither.
I did, on that note though, I did read that the reason they chose a William Shatner mask was because Star Trek was really big at this time. And so it was easy to find just like any kind of Star Trek mask.
Yep.
So interesting.
this was
Also-
like one of the best Mike Myers jokes in Baby Driver. That was a really good gig.
Yeah. Yeah. Get some Mike Myers masks. And it's like,
Yeah.
I did. Like, these are Austin Power masks.
I wish they didn't spoil that one, and I think it was in the trailer, but I remember seeing it there. I was like, oh, that was still pretty funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Any remaining thoughts on Halloween?
I would like to know what other scary movies y'all are going to be watching.
I'm gonna try to watch some from that list you sent me, Eric.
All right.
I Saw the Devil. Like, I know you love that one, right?
Oh, that's like one of my favorite movies of all
one's,
time.
That one's been in my watch list for a long time.
The director, Kim Ji-woon, he's never talked about at all in the Western Hemisphere, but he's like up there with like I enjoy his movies more than like Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook. His filmography is pretty incredible. He did A Tale of Two Sisters, which apparently you watched a terrible American remake of when you should have watched the original.
Which is The Tale of Two Sisters?
It's with the two sisters that one of the sisters comes home from a psychological or like a mental ward.
Oh, is it the Anne Hathaway movie?
Probably. And she gets taken in from like her dad and like a new.
I don't know.
What's the American movie?
That's what I'm trying to remember. I remember you telling me you watched it, and I was like, you should just watch the original.
American.
Well, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it was of course classic American taking an Asian concept and just remaking it and making it worse.
Wait, what was the name of the movie? A Tale of Two Sisters?
Yep.
Okay.
But he's like a master of horror. Like,
it was the Uninvited.
Yeah. Were you there? When we
I did
watched
see that movie.
Were you there when we watched that, Walter?
Watch what?
The Uninvited. It was. Yeah.
It was bad, wasn't it?
It's a really bad movie.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, that was like not good. I was gonna say
is Audition on the list?
I don't know about that one.
It's like Takashi Miike. It's like one of the most famous horror movies of all time in modern day Japan's.
Really?
It's
what's it called?
very good. Audition. It's got like a 4.4 on Letterboxd, which is pretty rare for horror movies to have anything above a 4.
I've also had
actually no.
Why don't you play in hell? No. That one and One Cut of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead is on Shudder. It's a Shudder movie.
Yeah, those were two recommendations from you that I'm still.
Yeah, One Cut of the Dead is good. It's like a play on words of Shaun of the Dead.
Can I talk about something slightly unrelated for a second?
Yes.
One of my favorite, not just horror movies, one of my favorite movies is It Follows, which good. Isaac, I know you and I watched kind of recently, a couple months ago, maybe.
Yep.
And of course, I having just now watched Halloween, there are It Follows took a lot of inspiration from Halloween in more ways than one. The main one being, and I mentioned this to you, Isaac, when we were watching Halloween, but it was very interesting that, of course, at least until the third act, a lot of the scares, quote scares, basically you see Mike Myers is in like broad daylight in the like, suburban type situations, like in neighborhoods, like by the school, whatever. It Follows kind of has that same like whatever the creature, whatever shape of a person it's in, it's always moving very slowly but deliberately. And it's very often like in broad daylight. And I thought, I was like, wow, like they took a lot from that. Again, with a low budget. I think It Follows also a very small budget, at least by today's standards. And then It Follows was also very much a commentary on sexuality as well. Albeit
that's true
in a different way, Halloween for sure, just because made in different times. But I did want to draw that parallel between those two movies. Because like I said, I love It Follows, and I think it was not a big hit when it first came out, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But I think
it's like a cult classic now. A lot of people
more popular, kind of like Halloween.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
I think it was like junior year of college. I was home on Christmas break, and this family that we knew was out of town, and one of my good friends was like house sitting, and he was like, everybody come over and like we'll just have some drinks and like watch a movie. And I invited another friend who like didn't hang out with our friend group very much, and I invited him, and he's like, what movie are y'all gonna watch? And I told him we're gonna watch It Follows, not thinking anything of it. And he's like, he texted me back like a couple hours later, and he wasn't like judgy at all, and he's not that sort of person, but like he is very like against watching anything like that. And I just kind of forgotten, and he's like, if you really want to watch that kind of movie, that's fine, but I'm not going to come. And I was like, oh shoot. Like, like going back to, that kind of culture that of the church and youth group that we grew up in. I was like, oh,
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So It Follows came out in 2014 with a budget of 1.3 million, which I think is still pretty low compared to a lot of, like other movies at its caliber, I think. So, if you haven't seen It Follows, fantastic movie, definitely worth a watch.
Olivia, that would be one you shouldn't even watch by yourself. Like,
I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah, no.
Have y'all seen Lake Mungo?
No.
That's like the scariest movie I've ever seen.
I'm out.
It does the thing where it's like the trope of like there's like somebody standing in the frame and you don't even notice, and then you see him and
nope,
like just a face right there is the whole time.
Hill
No.
House,
moves and
Hill
then you
House
see-
does that. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I love that. I love scares like that.
That
It's kind
reminds
of
me of
cheap,
The
but man,
Strangers.
it gets a good enjoyment from me.
Lake Mungo.
Yes, it's
I'm gonna look that up.
It's like a kind of a found footage mockumentary type movie. So that style also is very, very cool.
I do enjoy.
I think it's on. I watched it on Prime Video like
Lake
2 months
Mungo.
ago.
I don't
Yeah,
think
Lake
Eric,
Mungo.
what do you think about Texas Chainsaw?
I love Texas Chainsaw. I think that and Halloween would make a pretty fun double feature. I think if I had to pick between the two, I would probably like Halloween more because it's more, I guess, more campy and more like on the nose about being the movie that it is. And Texas Chainsaw Massacre is more.
It feels
artsy. I don't know
so
if that's the
real.
word. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that's like it's dusty, it's dirty, everybody's sweating like the whole time. And it's like it's terrifying and unnerving in a way that I watched it in broad daylight, and the final
Oh,
girl,
y'all got to stop doing the daylight thing. Y'all are ruining
Wait,
horror
no.
movies by
I
watching
didn't watch
movies in
it.
daylight.
It still had
Okay,
that. Still had
down.
that.
Chill out. You're lucky I watched
Olivia,
this movie.
Yeah, Olivia gets the pass because she doesn't do horror movies.
Yeah.
All right.
But
No,
anyway,
Leatherface is iconic.
Yeah, but like so scary. Like
Yeah.
at the end, and that's why I think I don't
Oh
think
yeah, the ending of
any
Texas
other
is very good actually.
I don't think any other horror movie where the girl gets away delivers this sort of this girl is like going to be like seriously scarred for the rest of her life mentally because of what just happened. Like that's the kind of movie that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, and like I was just kind of like gripping the arms of my chair subconsciously because it was so visceral. And by the time she's like in the car, like covered
There are a
in
lot of
blood.
similarities between her and Lori because she
Yeah.
takes care of like her disabled brother. I think that's like her duty throughout the movie is taking care of her brother
Yep.
while everyone else is out like partying and drinking.
Yeah.
And surprise, she's the one that gets away.
I just my Letterboxd review of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is sheesh.
That it holds up very well actually.
It's
like you couldn't tell
yeah.
it's made in the 70s like you knew Halloween was.
And it's
No.
interesting that Toby or Tober, however you say his name.
Tobe Hopper?
I feel like he didn't. Other than that, he didn't continue on to do as notable things as even as like John Carpenter did with The Thing, and Wes Craven. The three of them are just really interesting comparing them at the time. Someone else pointed out that like John Carpenter existed, his directorial kind of stint existed in this perfect overlap of people buying a ton of VHSs, and that's how Halloween made so much money. Is like tons of people went to go see it on word of mouth, and then it made so much money on VHSs from people buying it. And then stuff started transitioning to DVDs like in 2001, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
His movies are timeless. I think John Carpenter has like one of the best like filmographies out there.
Mhm.
Like he can do like he did sci-fi, he did action. He's a master of the arts. I really enjoy his movies.
I didn't answer the question earlier of like what other John Carpenter movies I've seen.
Uh-huh.
And the only one I've ever seen, so he did The Fog, and I haven't seen that version, but I've seen the remake, which was also terrifying, but I also was probably like 12 when I saw it, so I don't know if I'd feel the same way. Anyway, but he did Big Trouble in Little China, and that is like a Clement family staple.
That is so awesome to hear.
Love that movie. So, yeah, that's a fantastic movie that I think everyone should see. And it's it is kind of creepy, like the bad guy or whatever when he has the super long nails. Ooh, scared me a lot as a kid.
The production design on Big Trouble in Little China is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the look of that movie.
It's good. It's great.
That's so awesome here that you saw or that you've seen that, and it was a staple.
If we had to pick one movie for Olivia to watch, just one more scary movie, which would it be?
Saw.
No.
Oh, come on. James Wan. We haven't talked about James Wan. I think James Wan.
Wan for a long time. I don't like Saw, but I like his other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like after 2000, he's like he like changed the horror genre, modern day horror genre with the movies that he's done, because he had Saw, which started the whole body torture porn subgenre of horror.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
It's pretty incredible. Then you had, I think he also did Insidious, which was like the whole haunted house, modern day haunted house trope.
I hate that too.
And then The Conjuring was like the franchise, like the Avengers of scary movies. And like
I have seen The Conjuring.
Yeah.
And nice. Patrick Wilson goes, "I am the Ocean Master."
Oh man.
All right.
But all those subgenres now, like you have people like imitate or like doing those kinds of movies, and James Wan was really the first one to make those kind of movies. So he's very important filmmaker for horror in like post 2000. I think Saw came out in 2003, but like all of the movies that he's done really like kickstarted their own subgenres.
He's the closest to a Craven or Carpenter.
Yes.
Or
100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
My two favorite like horror franchises are Insidious and The Conjuring. And I think that's not a mistake that it's James Wan who's done both of those.
Yeah. Have y'all seen Malignant yet?
Did you like Malignant?
I enjoyed Malignant because someone told me what to expect from it. Mm-hmm. And if I didn't temper my expectations based off of that comment, I probably wouldn't have liked it, but I kind of knew what I was expecting. If I had went in there thinking what I was going to expect, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it, but I still enjoyed it. I think it was cool. James Wan, his wife worked on the script. I think Olivia sent the little informational about that, which I thought was really cool. Like pretty much she was pretty much the inspiration for that story, and it was a passion project because he doesn't really get to work on movies like that anymore.
Right.
And he pretty much used like the bonus money from Aquaman to make that passion project. I was about
to say I just found out looking at his IMDb that he directed Aquaman.
That's why I said I'm the Ocean Master earlier. I'm just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time.
Aquaman 2 sounds pretty canceled right now, according to Twitter streets. Last I checked.
Because of Amber Heard.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Which is very unfortunate because I kind of enjoyed Aquaman 1.
I'm kind of like, both of them are okay. I don't have before this conflict with them that they had with each other, I didn't dislike either one of them, but because it's become such a thing of like he said, she said, and it's not I don't know, like there might be overwhelming evidence that one over the other is like more in the wrong, but since it's just against one or the other, and it's not like I don't know, to me it's like, okay, they're both terrible people, but this is not a Woody Allen or Weinstein or what have you type of scandal where I'm going to go see Aquaman 2 because it's Aquaman. Like it's Aqua, my man, and the Ocean Master.
I really enjoyed the first Aquaman. I just find it hilarious that she doesn't let anybody reply to her tweets that she doesn't follow. She has her
Amber Heard
restricted, which is pretty funny.
What kind of things would you say to Amber Heard if you knew that she was going to read your tweets, Eric?
I really enjoyed your 5 minutes in Zombieland one with Jesse Eisenberg.
There you go.
She looked
forgot
very
she
good.
was
She
in
looked
that.
very good in that movie. In High School
Yeah.
Me. Really
She's the one that
enjoyed
gets
her scene
eaten right at the beginning, right?
there. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look.
So she was the Drew Barrymore of
Yes.
Zombieland.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Oh, I didn't
Good-
know that was
good
I
there.
pull
haven't
there.
even seen Scream, and I know that.
Good pull.
You
Thank
need to
you.
watch. Yeah. Okay. I'm dubbing. I'm knighting you.
Knighting
you
me.
must, Sir S.
Nope.
Olivia, the shape,
Sir S.
the female shape.
The female.
You must watch Scream
No.
before October.
Or I say she
Before
has
October?
to watch. She
Before
has to
October
watch
ends.
Saw because
Okay.
it comes first
No.
alphabetically. Then she can watch Scream, and they're both
She'll
on
think
HBO
Scream is
Max.
funny though. It'll make her. It'll kind of take a little bit of the
Olivia.
edge off.
Should I do a double
Wait, have y'all
feature?
seen Saw? Have y'all seen? I think
I have not
He's
seen
the
Saw.
Walter.
This is Eric. This is
Walter
why
has
you need
seen
to
it.
come stay with us in Little Rock, and we'll watch a bunch of horror movies
so.
together.
Saw really isn't. It's really the Saw sequels where like the body torture and torture porn just go ballistic. The
Yep.
first one is honestly very. It's more like suspense thriller with like some kind of frightening and terrorizing stuff.
See, that's
But
just
it's not like body porn, like torture porn, like the
Yeah.
other Saw movies.
I hear
Yeah.
you. I'm still not gonna watch it.
It's awesome.
I can't do it.
Walter,
I
what
thought
were you
that
gonna
was-
say?
I thought that was curious that like we started Halloween, Walter, and you're like, I
It's
can't
fine.
do gore, and I was like, what? Really?
Well, Halloween. Okay,
The
yeah.
only person
Saw
I know who
has,
listens to death
That's a
metal.
good opportunity
So
to bring it back to Halloween. Okay.
Saw has what's his name?
Well,
How can I forget
The
his name? From Princess Bride. What's the dude's name? from
Oh,
Princess
Gary
Bride?
Ellis.
Wheels.
Yes, he is amazing in Saw. That's his best role as Saw.
oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
he's awesome. I guess it's because he plays against type in Saw.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I saying?
You said my name, and then we're interrupted like 15 times.
I interrupted you about the gore thing. I think.
Oh, the gore thing. Oh, I figured that could be a good opportunity to bring it back to Halloween because we're getting close to time, so we will wrap it up in just a minute here. But yeah, I was very surprised at how very little gore there was in Halloween. Like it was a slasher movie with
It's basically the first
just a
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Little gore, way more boobs than I was expecting.
Mhm.
Like I saw way more boobs than I thought I'd see in
We
this
got
movie.
the boobies.
I was like, oh, okay.
I covered Walter's
Fine.
eyes. You can see it on the
Yeah,
YouTube video.
like my virgin eyes.
Oh,
Yep.
that's really sweet of you. Way to guard his heart.
That's why you should have friends like
Thanks.
Isaac.
watching the
Even though Walter's married.
listening to the commentary of John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis during that scene was just hilarious. I won't spoil it in case you guys ever stumble.
Where
upon
can
that.
we
It was
where can
very
we find
entertaining.
that? How can we listen to that?
I think it's on the Blu-ray or DVD of the movie.
Oh, it's great.
Which-
So I'm never gonna see
I
it.
learned more. This is why I know so much about movies is because watching or listening to audio commentaries from actual filmmakers instead of people's like secondhand analyzing movies.
Yeah.
Like we are?
You're getting it direct from the
Say,
source.
like,
I heard or I read somewhere. My friend told me that.
I think I saw a tweet that one time said this thing.
This sounds like a
Um,
Josh tweet about vaccinations at this point.
oh my
man.
gosh.
No comment there.
We're gonna go there. Here's like kind of last anecdote, and we can wrap up because I know we got stuff to do.
Mhm.
The end of the first day. I also don't think we've mentioned that Jamie Lee Curtis is the daughter of Tony Curtis and Janet Lee, and Janet Lee was in Psycho, so she's like that's kind of like a huge legacy, and that she was carrying on. That's basically why she got hired, and then later on, Carpenter, ends up hiring her for more movies because he like really is impressed by her, and she's a good actress. He called her, and she thought she was about to get fired, and he told her, and this is verbatim, like, or this is just what I heard from the Blank Check podcast, but he said,
Again.
I gotta plug it again.
But you could tell that he didn't want to say that, but
I didn't want to say it, but yeah. Carpenter told her, darling, I just want to tell you how great today was. And it was just like, it's like a sweet
Aw.
little thing to like know that he said that to her.
Mm.
And it was on the first day of shooting, and she's like, clearly proud to be part of this franchise, even though she's kind of done very different things throughout her career since then.
Yeah,
What about
because I
range?
think when she got a call from John Carpenter, her first instinct was that she was getting fired from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about that on the audio commentary of Blu-ray. Is where Blank Check probably copied that from.
Yes. And you probably had it first, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Audio
Definitely.
commentary, good source of very good source of information from the actual people.
I haven't done any commentaries since Jeff Nichols, but I need to up my game and start doing them again.
It's awesome listening to it's like a podcast with your favorite actors or favorite directors. It's pretty incredible.
I've heard that the Thing commentary with Kurt Russell and Carpenter is hilarious.
Kurt Russell on audio commentary he's such a stooge. He's incredible.
I heard I actually watched a clip where it's like the scene where the dude's arms, he's doing the defibrillator and his arms get eaten off, and both of them are just laughing their asses off.
They're like
this is so crazy.
They're like in disguise completely doing that audio commentary.
They're just
it's amazing.
laughing uproariously. I was like, I have to watch this
awesome.
commentary.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, let's get to wrap real quick. I want to do this real quick. Since it is October and we are celebrating horror movies, we're gonna real quick go around the proverbial circle, as it were, and I would like everybody to say their top 3 horror movies.
Oh dang!
3.
We'll start.
Like whenever people ask me this question, it's like I've never seen a movie before.
No.
I know for sure.
It doesn't hold on. It doesn't have to be in order. You don't have to do like first, second, third. You can just say just top 3.
These are the 3.
Go ahead.
I know for sure. I know for sure one is Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell, which is this really schlocky.
That's not Amber Heard, is it?
What
is Amber Heard in that, or is it a different blonde?
I forget who
blonde.
it is. Yeah, I forget who it is, but it's so scary. It's so cheesy, but you can't help but be just terrified by all the jump scenes.
Oh, there's jump scares in it.
Have you never seen it? I thought you would have seen it.
No,
oh my
actually,
gosh, Eric,
Sam
you
Raimi's,
have to watch it.
Sam Raimi's filmography is. I've only seen Evil Dead. I haven't seen anything else from Sam Raimi.
I would honestly say
Spider-Man?
I've seen Spider-Man. Actually, I forget.
Okay.
Come on, Eric.
Spider-Man. Here we go.
All right,
I really do love the original Evil Dead as well, and Scream. Those are probably my 3
Those are
favorite.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or actually Evil Dead 2 over original Evil Dead.
Oh, really?
Yep. Evil Dead 2 is it's scary, but it's also really funny.
What about Army of Darkness? I haven't
seen that one yet.
Okay. He goes back in time. He's a time traveler.
Yeah. It apparently just gets super weird, and I'm like, yeah.
It doesn't become it's not horror anymore at that point.
Olivia's going to answer something like Schindler's List, like the true horrors of.
Oh gosh.
Because there's a joke that she doesn't like horror movies. Right. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, we're gonna get to her, but Isaac, I want to make sure your 3 are Drag Me to Hell, Evil Dead 2, and Scream. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Those are Isaac's top 3. Let's go to you next, Olivia. And I know
the strangers
don't like horror movies.
Yeah, so this is from someone who does not like horror movies. So I'm gonna go Alien.
Nice.
Signs.
Yes.
Nice, sir.
And I'm gonna go Midsommar because it was creepy as hell.
Okay.
Another Final Girl movie.
Another Final Girl movie.
I like how you pronounce Midsummer too. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Apparently that's the right way.
Is it really?
I just thought The Witch is also.
I hate
there's
The
all
Witch.
these horror
Oh my gosh,
movies
The
from
Witch.
A24. They're all Final Girl.
Tried
movies.
watching The Witch, and I couldn't. I made it like halfway through, and it was very boring.
Yeah.
I was so scared watching it.
I enjoyed
Maybe
it.
I stopped watching before it got interesting. Maybe
I enjoyed
Probably.
it. That's Roger. What's his name? Eggers.
Robert Eggers.
Robert Eggers. Okay.
Nice.
I also want to mention. I meant to say this earlier when we were talking about James Wan, but Insidious. I like Insidious, and I actually want to revisit it. But the scene at the beginning of that movie when they start realizing that what's haunted, is the house haunted or is the kid haunted in that movie?
We're all haunted.
It's
by the demons of our past.
all of them. Yeah, but the kid is the one who's stuck in what they call the further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the beginning of the first Insidious, when there's like different paranormal things happening in different parts of the house, Patrick Wilson goes downstairs and Rose Byrne's upstairs, and there's someone walking on the deck outside.
Yes.
And then he just walks straight into the room.
No, it's a different. I'm talking about that's a different scene because I've seen this movie so many times. That scene, Rose Byrne is. I think she might be no. Oh,
that's in the bedroom. That's in the bedroom, though.
Yeah. But she and Patrick Wilson were in a fight. So Patrick Wilson was sleeping on the couch that night.
Oh, okay.
Is in the room by herself. Yeah, and the guy's pacing, and all of a sudden he goes out of frame, comes back in, and then he's inside, which is
one of my favorite scares. I was just so terrified.
So
like,
good.
Oh my gosh, he's in the room.
It's
like,
so good.
Yeah.
We'll
so
talk.
good.
Okay. Hold on, real quick. Olivia. Your top 3 are. Sorry, hit me with it again.
Alien.
Yeah.
Signs. And Midsommar.
Amazing.
Bang.
That's actually from a
Signs is man.
Signs is underrated. I love Signs.
A great movie. Yeah. Very, very good list, Olivia.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank
Aaron.
you.
I'm gonna go. I've seen so many horror movies. It's hard to just pick 3.
Yeah.
I think I Saw the Devil because it's like an action horror revenge movie, which is very good. Audition and Pulse, 2 Che horror movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just think Asian horror movies, like Western horror movies just don't hold a candle to Asian horror movies, and the way that they do suspense and the way they tell a story is miles ahead.
I should watch more of those too.
Yeah.
I've heard they're really good.
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
I'll check it out.
For me,
What are yours?
Talking about Insidious, I can't decide between the first or second Insidious for me. But I actually saw Insidious. Insidious 2 was the very first horror movie I ever watched. I used to be very against horror movies, and I saw Insidious 2 when it came out in theaters when I was in college because I took a girl to try to impress her, and it did not work. So
it was like us watching Halloween.
Yeah, it was. We watched Insidious 2, and then there's a scene, of course, like a lot of horror movies, there's a scene where you see the silhouette of the ghost or the demon through a shower curtain. And I remember I could not close my eyes in the shower for like 2 weeks after I watched that movie because it was so terrifying to me. So either the first or second Insidious, the first Conjuring movie, that would be my number 1 spot. I know we're not qualifying particular spots, but number 1 has got to be the first Conjuring.
You set these rules. You can break them if you want to.
I'll do whatever I want, man. The third one, man, it's tough. I have a few bouncing around in my head. The first one that comes to mind for the third spot is the first Quiet Place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I thought Quiet Place 2 was good, but it just didn't have the same effect as the first one. I didn't need a backstory or like anything about like the aliens and whatnot. And it was more violent than the first one. So it almost became kind of a thriller slasher, like in the third act of Quiet Place 2. But Quiet Place 1 was much more about the suspense and, of course, the family dynamics. I thought was very so. I think those would be my top 3, I guess.
And you said you're not going to watch Saw, even though 2 of your favorite movies are directed by James Wan.
I love James Wan's work in those 2 movies, but I really am not interested in what Saw has to offer. I'm very sorry.
Man, y'all are missing out.
Can't do it.
It is very good.
Walter's just here so he doesn't get fined.
I know Isaac will do it and do me justice. We'll watch it and do me justice.
Yeah. Ideally, I would watch it with someone who really appreciates it because I don't have very many people in my life who, I thought for sure Walter would be on board, but
with what?
There are a couple other people who would watch Saw with me.
There's this video on YouTube.
Maybe
it's like how to break every trap in Saw, and it's like an hour long, and that is video I need to watch.
That sounds interesting.
Nice.
Wait. No, I would like to amend my last one. It's not a quiet.
I was about to be like, I wasn't gonna like shame you for your pick, but
no, that's fine. You can shame me.
That was I like A Quiet Place 1 more than 2, but I was like, I mean, of all the horror movies, like
No,
A
no, no,
Quiet Place above all those.
Idiot. I was a very dumb kid when I said that back then. Okay. So
Way back then.
it's actually Conjuring 1, Insidious 2, I decided, and the original Exorcist. That's mine.
OG
Okay.
Exorcist is something else.
Holds up
Exorcist is
really well.
good. Yeah, that is a good movie.
I cannot believe I did not think of The Exorcist over A Quiet Place. Gosh, I was so
William, who directed it? William
Friedkin. Yeah.
Freaking okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay up on my movie trivia.
There you go.
nice.
Walter, you gonna give a preview of the YouTube?
Yeah.
clip?
Let's talk. We'll talk about this, and then we will wrap it.
Cool.
We'll wrap a great episode here. So, yeah, I think we mentioned. Do we introduce it in the last episode? The idea of our Flyover
Yes.
After Dark. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Right there.
that wasn't just big talk. We've done it. We started it. Actually, just very recently, before we recorded this episode, Isaac and I got together and watched Halloween to do our very first Flyover After Dark episode, which is where Isaac and I watch the movie and have live commentary along with it. I was able to edit everything down to just 23 minutes, including our quick review at the end. The Flyover podcast is definitely more about analysis and, kind of a deep dive into whatever the movie is. But Flyover After Dark is it's a little more off the rails. It's a little more twisted. It's a little more offbeat.
Twisted.
It's supposed to be So if you get scared easily by movies like Halloween, I would encourage you to watch our very first Flyover After Dark about Halloween, where we just kind of riff on it most of the time. And we had a great time watching it, right?
A lot of fun. We should have had just Olivia not watch the movie and just watch our commentary. That could have worked pretty well, actually, now that I think about it.
I will say I was not scared to be alone after watching this movie. I was okay.
Nice.
That's good.
I don't know if that would have been the case had I watched it at night, but that is all right. I have
You got to do.
a hammer by the side of my bed just in case. I had that before I watched this movie, just because I am a single woman living by myself.
Yep.
So
That's
Hammer is a great weapon to have.
Thank you.
Very, very common in action
head and
movies.
the-
Like I'm thinking of
thing.
Old Boy.
Yeah,
Right, Isaac?
do the head.
Oh, yeah.
The Raid.
Do a lot.
The Raid, an Old Boy, Drive.
Oh, how could I forget Drive? Yeah, wow. Hammer is a very good weapon to have. That's a good choice.
Thank you.
Olivia.
Are we doing another scary movie for October?
Yes, we were watching Saw.
Olivia's like, we're done, right? We're done.
I just want to know what
anymore?
movie are we watching next, so
Yeah.
I can mentally prepare myself for that.
No, we're
I
going
was wondering about that.
first.
So
Let's play.
we have not decided.
Let's play a little preview of our Flyover. Our first
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
Flyover.
Yeah.
Flyover
Well, I'm-
After Dark. Here it is.
Did you see Lil Nas
That's the wrong clip. I'm going to edit this, by the way.
Where was that
that's
going?
another teaser. If you really want to know what I have to say about
I
Lil
do want
Nas,
to know where that's
That
going.
is a very good
Yeah.
teaser.
It's
Holy,
actually a pretty
that got my
just
attention
Just
pretty
leave that
fast.
bit.
See, I'll say I'll edit that out of the podcast because I started playing at the wrong part, but I think about leave that part in. So y'all can wonder what Isaac has to say about Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
All right, here it is for real.
You're double fisting that cigarette. Inhales like that. She burns down half the cigarette. Smoke comes out of her eyes. It's like one of those old cartoons.
Tom and Jerry. Jerry lit him on fire.
That was actually the first scene they filmed this movie. Her voice is so deep the rest of the time. She had normal voice before that.
All right, there we go. That's our little video of that.
Eric also pointed out that in that scene they're smoking a joint.
Yeah,
and
and we had-
Walter didn't realize that until later. And I was like, she was smoking weed. They were smoking weed.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. No. So that's going to go up. I don't know if we have an exact date on that. Probably. I don't know, Isaac. What do you think? Should we put that up the same time.
Episode and the YouTube would go up on the same date, which was initially October 9th.
Mhm.
But if we want to bump it back earlier, we can just drop it on with a surprise.
Yeah.
To all 10 people who are interested.
Yeah.
When do we get to hear the little Nas X teaser? Is that
well,
part
you
of the
can go watch
episode?
it because it's in the drive.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
Yeah.
us
okay.
people who are hosts of this.
I was wondering
Perk
where
of
that was
being a
going.
host.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all can watch that before the masses. But yeah, if you're listening to this podcast right now on whatever platform you're listening on, our very first Flyover After Dark episode about Halloween is also up on YouTube as well, and we'll have links for that. Possibly, can we have links for that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have that.
In show notes and stuff.
Yeah, and at the very least, I know we'll have links for that on our Instagram, which we have started to use more. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. What's the Instagram handle?
At Flyover Film Co.
At Flyover Film Co. Y'all give us a follow there and keep up with us on that. So, real quick before we wrap, what is next? What movie are we going for next?
So I think it would be fair. I think we could reasonably cover 2 more or
Okay.
possibly 3 more horror movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think to be fair, we can let Olivia pick. And
I
so
don't
we're
want to
gonna-
pick. I don't have a scary. I mean, besides the movies I named, I don't really want to go out of my way to watch another scary movie.
Pick Shaun of the Dead. That's a good one.
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead. That's a horror
Edgar
comedy.
Wright.
Zomcom.
Edgar Wright,
Zomcom.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, Olivia, it could be a tried
Yeah.
and true. It doesn't
Just
have to
throwing
be
it out
something.
there as a suggestion. There are a lot
Yeah, it
of
doesn't have to be
subgenres.
something that like new, or if it's familiar territory,
We
you can
haven't-
just.
Okay, but we haven't actually covered Alien. We've just talked about Alien.
That's correct. We've talked about
Yeah.
Alien a lot. So if you want
We've
to cover
talked to-
Alien, we
let's
can.
let's
cover-
do Alien. Let's
Cool.
do it.
Wow.
Okay.
And then we'll do a
Good
movie
pick.
from 1980 because Halloween 78.
Yeah.
Alien 79.
Oh,
What's a good one in 80 we could do?
let me look it up.
Racking my head here. The Thing came out in 1982, but that's pretty similar to
But
Alien.
1980.
A couple years later, yeah.
1980.
That's also another John
And then
Carpenter.
Eric, what do you want to pick for? You want to think about it?
Guys.
Yeah, I think anybody that enjoys horror, I think Saw is like essential viewing, like legitimately.
I don't know
Let's
if any
do
of
it.
us.
No. I'm just messing. Y'all
Okay.
don't have to watch Saw.
All right. I think there are two very, very good options for a 1980 horror movie for after we do. What do we just say?
Alien.
Alien. Yeah. So Alien's next. And then after that, we could either do Poltergeist or The Shining, both of which came out in 1980.
Ooh.
I have not seen Poltergeist, but I have seen The Shining. And I think The Shining is fantastic.
The opposite is true of me. I have seen Poltergeist, but have not seen The Shining.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm leaning more towards Poltergeist because I feel like it's got a little more of that camp to it, which would be in
It does.
kind of what we've already been doing for October. So, I mean, what do y'all think?
I'd be down for Poltergeist. I've seen it before, and I kind of want to revisit it because I didn't love it the first time I saw it.
Okay.
Have you seen it, Eric?
I have not.
Okay. At
And
least
I don't even know if I'm going to be on these episodes, but
Yeah. That's true.
I kind of wanted to talk about The Shining. I think me and Isaac both love The Shining,
I love The
Mhm.
Shining. Yeah.
but
We can- we
it's
can-
y'all's choice.
We can table the third pick, but
Okay.
our second pick for Spooktoberfest will definitely be Alien 79.
Great.
Also
Wow,
a
great
masterpiece.
Love it.
Yeah,
Eric, you got to be on for Alien.
Yeah,
I
Eric.
probably will be. That's
We'll-
another movie
we'll
I've
figure
seen
it out.
double-digit amount of times.
Dang, that's impressive.
Yeah. Cool, man.
I'm bigger than a Scott fanboy.
All right. Ready to wrap it? It's been
Yep.
a little bit of a lengthier one, which is fine. But that is our take on 1978 John Carpenter's Halloween. Great movie. And I think we all enjoyed it on some level, even Olivia a little bit. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Up next is Alien, 1979 Alien, which I'm excited about because I have not seen, but it seems like everybody else has. So
Really scary, really good.
cool.
Kickstarted
Yeah.
the sci-fi horror genre.
Yeah, it did.
All about
And please remember to rate, review, subscribe, share this to anyone you know who likes Halloween or It Follows or Blank Check with Griffin and David.
You're the only person who listens to them that we
like,
know.
I'm like Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like red-eyed, like drawing the red yarn lines from here to there.
Good pull.
About Blank Check with Griffin and David. But share this with anyone you know who loves or hates Halloween to see how our opinions compare.
Ooh.
Yeah, seriously. If you hate this movie, we've got a problem with you. So
We hate you.
yeah, exactly.
Just kidding. Maybe.
Poltergeist actually came out in 1982, so that one's out. So
No,
It sounds like The Shining.
Oh, it was.
dropped that
Your Google search probably was like just
it came in
80s. Yeah,
but The Shining did come out in 1980. So
I also saw that Friday the
just do this.
13th came out in 80.
oh, you could do that too.
I've never seen that
another very
one.
good
That would be
slasher.
interesting. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, we can
talk about
double
that
check,
one. We'll talk
but-
about it. I love how we do a sign off, and they're like, oh, okay, what's that?
If we do either The Shining or Friday the 13th, Olivia, you can watch our recap. You don't have to watch the whole movie.
Guys, I'm going to do whatever I want because I'm a strong, independent woman and I don't care what you tell me to do. So
I was offering.
I know.
Wasn't telling.
Hey, Isaac,
Was
thank
offering.
you. I appreciate that.
Good.
You're being thoughtful
We're like
and
just
trying to help.
I attacked you.
Yep.
Yeah, Olivia, I believe you can watch Saw by yourself
Thank,
in the dark.
thank you, Eric, for your
dark.
support in the dark by myself
Like
with,
like
with a
up here.
blanket over me. Just
with a
pull my hood
tinfoil
up.
hat like a Joaquin
Yeah.
in Signs.
Another good
Do
pull.
it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't pull
All right.
my-
We will let you guys go. And one last thing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, are you?
Okay,
Great.
good.